Not what you think. US Navy's dilemma. The new Osprey is too good. For context, this plane is known for being really difficult to maintain. Let's have a look.
The US Navy is replacing its C-2A Greyhounds, the primary aircraft in charge of making urgent deliveries to aircraft carriers anywhere around the world. And by urgent, I don't mean one-day Amazon delivery.
Haha, Amazon. Nice.
Even though Amazon packages do get delivered to aircraft carriers. The C-2 Greyhound has had a long career with the US Navy since the 1960s, but it's now being replaced with a tiltrotor, the CMV-22 Osprey. Yes, it looks like the MV-22 that the US Marines have been now using for a while,
Hmm.
but just a bit chubbier on the cheeks.
Oh, I like the Sopranos hairstyle.
Can the CMV-22 actually do everything that the C-2 is doing right now? Absolutely. In fact, it's capable of doing much more. But why as it stands, the Osprey would be unable to reach its full potential with the US Navy is not what you think.
Hmm. Why, what happened?
Flying a cargo plane directly to an aircraft carrier in the middle of the ocean is quite expensive, and that's why it's limited to transporting urgent packages, parts, and aircraft engines. Critical personnel may also be flown in if needed, and at times, emergency evacuations are performed to take someone off the
Oh,
aircraft
damn.
carriers. All of that
Oh, that might be. Yeah, okay. That might be a bit. They might. I guess they have like some special braces inside because, like, you stuff a person who needs to be on, like, laid down on a stretcher, and then you're slingshotting a metal tube off an aircraft carrier, like 0 to what, like 200 miles minimum, or like 150 miles maybe. You're slingshotting a metal tube with the guy on the stretcher in it. How does that work? That'll be interesting to see, like how they make that work.
is done with the help of the C2 Greyhound. Everything else, like Amazon packages, mail, food, supplies, and fuel, are all
Wait a second.
else, like Amazon packages, mail, food, supplies,
Food. No. Food. That's some crazy food.
and fuel are all delivered using a second method, underway replenishment, which is done with the help of a supply ship. The
Okay.
CMV-22 Osprey is what's replacing the C2 Greyhound.
Hmm.
The Osprey is a tiltrotor that can take off and land like a helicopter, but transit as a
Hey,
turboprop aircraft.
helicopter.
The CMV-22 can carry less payload, 6,000 pounds, compared to the C2's 10,000 pounds. But the
Oh, so they're actually reducing their cargo capacity per aircraft, I guess. But then I'm sure there's other benefits.
Osprey makes up for this by being able to carry external cargo,
Ah, there we go.
allowing it to transport oversized loads that do not fit inside the C2. When it comes to operational range, both the C2 and the CMV-22 have a similar range, except that the Osprey can be refueled mid-air, giving it much more range if needed. But it's probably the Osprey's ability to perform vertical takeoff and landing that really gives it an edge. The C2 is catapult launched and lands on the carrier with the help of arrestor wires. During both takeoff and landing, a huge amount of force is experienced by those on board, which may not be a big deal for the crew, but could be detrimental for someone with a medical
Exactly. See, you're just slinging a guy on a stretcher.
condition. In February 2021, a sailor who had experienced a stroke needed to be evacuated from aircraft carrier USS Carl Vinson.
Oh my God.
Given his critical condition, evacuating the sailor on a C2 Greyhound could have been fatal during the catapult launch. Thankfully, a CMV-22 was on board, which was used for medevac for the very first time, saving the sailor's life.
Oh, great. I mean, this is a dummy, which is also good that they have good practice. But that is good. I didn't know it was already in service. I thought it was being tested out. Hey, that's good news.
In another example, one of the catapults broke down on aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln, and the support element that was needed for the repair had to be picked up from shore and flown back to the carrier. Of course, the C-2 Greyhound could have used any of the remaining 3 catapults to fly out. The issue, however, was that there was no runway near that particular support facility, so multiple hops would have been needed to bring the repair element back to the ship. The CMV-22 saved a lot of time by flying there directly. We should note that in both cases, a helicopter would not have had the operational range to fly from the carrier
Nor
and
the
make it all
speed.
the way to shore. Even if it did, because the Osprey can switch to airplane mode in horizontal flight, it can fly much faster
Uh
than a
huh.
helicopter.
Yep.
CMV-22 has a cruising speed in the range of 305 miles per hour,
Or
almost twice as
490
much as
kilometers an
conventional
hour.
helicopters. The most notable visual difference between the existing V-22 variants and the CMV-22B is the fuel tank extensions to the forward portion of the sponsons on either side of the aircraft.
Oh, that's what makes it so chubby. It's okay. I was like, where exactly is it more chubby? I didn't realize at the start. So, extra fuel tanks. That's a good addition.
The CMV variant will also have an improved fuel dumping capability to dump fuel in flight during emergency situations. The additional fuel tanks were necessary to ensure the CMV-22 can have the operational range needed to perform Carrier Onboard Delivery or COD, which is its
God.
primary mission when replacing the C-2s. But this Osprey is a game changer for the Navy because it can do much more than just delivering cargo. The CMV-22s could be equipped with the V-22 Aerial Refueling System or VARS, which will allow them to refuel other aircraft like FA-18s or F-35s. This will allow the F-35s to reach target areas as far as 1,000 miles away if refueled by the Osprey.
Oh, that's cool. Imagine like your aircraft carrier now also travels with its own aerial refueling tanker. Damn. You already have AVAX on the aircraft carrier. You have like F-18's fourth generation. You have F-35's fifth generation. You might have some drones, they are testing those as well. And then to top it off, you have the whole tanker as like you have your own, like you have the entire Air Force on that one ship.
The US Marine Corps has been testing this capability for a few years now, but it's unknown whether the US Navy would include this capability for its CMV-22 fleet. The US Navy currently has 2 carrier-based aircraft that can operate as tankers in order to perform aerial refueling. One option is the FA-18F Super Hornet, which
Hey, buddy refueling.
can be equipped with external tanks in order to provide fuel to other aircraft. Until a few years ago, Super Hornets were the only carrier-based aircraft covering tanker missions during deployments on the carriers. But this meant that they would reach their 6,000-hour service life several years earlier. The second option is the MQ-25 Stingray,
See, I told you drones, tanker drones.
an aerial refueling drone. In June 2021, the MQ-25 conducted its first refueling operation, providing fuel to an FA-18F Super Hornet. The Ospreys can also be equipped with multiple mission packages. I can see some of you getting LCS
Oh
flashbacks,
no.
but this is different. The rear ramp of the Osprey allows for different mission packages to be installed in its cargo bay. For example, if an
Oh, so modularity done right. It can be separated from the plane itself. You're not gonna ruin the plane by trying to make it modular. Okay.
E2 Hawkeye cannot operate for some reason, a special communication package could be installed to turn the CMV-22 into a communication node. Similarly, an electronic warfare roll-on roll-off package has been successfully tested by the US Marine Corps.
Ooh,
The Osprey
interesting.
would also be equipped with a beyond line-of-sight high-frequency radio and improved command and control capabilities to provide line-of-sight communications beyond the horizon. In addition to this, the CMV-22 accommodates a crew of 4 plus 24 troops. This can allow the
Oh, that's
Osprey
good.
to deploy naval special warfare forces, either with the help of low or high altitude parachute drops or with a combat rubber raiding craft. This all sounds
Yeah, the Navy SEALs could have a new toy. That would be really good for like behind enemy lines type operations.
great, but there is a little problem. The US Navy originally planned to procure 48 Ospreys, but
Mm-hmm.
that number was later reduced to 44.
Okay.
As of December 2022, the US Navy has only received 19 of them.
Huh.
Because the CMV 22 can do so much more than the C2 could, during high demand situations, the multi mission aspect of the Osprey may result in reduced availability for its primary mission as a logistical asset.
You're diluting the use cases for the plane too much. Interesting. And also you're not getting as many as you wanted.
The V22 platform is also already a bit of a maintenance hog, and
Yep.
its cost per flight hour is very high.
Mm-hmm.
As more fleet elements tap into this asset, the aircraft could see pressure on its availability and readiness. The Navy currently only has enough Osprey airframes and personnel for the primary COD missions.
So then it means it is the modularity is weighing down on the airframe still, even though it doesn't directly like latch onto the airframe, and like in the case of, let's say, the LCS, those littoral combat ships, and a little bit in case of F-35 as well, where modularity made it not work properly for certain scenarios. Over here is just the use cases are diluting the use of the plane too much.
To use these additional capabilities, more aircrews, more maintenance personnel, and more Ospreys are needed. The Navy cannot do all these additional missions with the same number of aircraft, and if they did, there would be no availability for COD missions. The fleet is expected to fully transition to the CMVs by 2028. Currently, the Pentagon is not planning to buy any additional Ospreys for any of the military branches beside what is currently on order.
Interesting. Yeah, it is a difficult plane to handle, but hopefully they get it right and they're able to use it well.